Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances. And through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. It's my privilege as always to be here with you. Kenny Anderson, host and producer of the broadcast since November of 1990, and we're still fortunate to be able to carry this platform forward where we have an opportunity each week from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time to share information and inspiration through this medium called Second Chance. Now, we're based right here at Oakwood University, and we're airing this afternoon from the campus of Oakwood University. Prose 90.1 FM is the studio. And if you're tuning in this afternoon on 90.1 FM, we welcome you to the broadcast. For those that might be listening this afternoon on the internet at wjlu.org, we're very appreciative that you've chosen to do that. And then, of course, we always invite you to hop on over to the live stream at Prose 90.1 FM on either Facebook or YouTube in order to be able to get the full benefit of the information that we're sharing today. That also gives you an opportunity to drop thoughts and comments and questions in the chat and also see the guests as we're talking to them in real time. It is, of course, still Black History Month, and according to my record, it's February the 23rd, so got a few more days to really bask in the excitement, enthusiasm, and significance of a month-long celebration of Black heritage. But of course, as I always caution, I hope that on March the 1st, we wake up and recognize that Black history should be celebrated throughout the year, 365 days a year, because Black history is American history. And we hope that you'll take full advantage of that. The theme this year is African Americans in labor, and we've been celebrating that throughout the month. And we've been highlighting and emphasizing a variety of people and information regarding why this is important to celebrate and why it's significant to talk about it. I want to also once again acknowledge, as we did on last week's show, that on this past Friday, February the 21st, a very significant milestone, the 60th anniversary of the assassination of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X. Of course, having been born and raised in New York City, I was in New York City on the day that he was assassinated, a young 8-year-old, really beginning to understand things as related to the civil rights movement and Black history, and benefiting from the opportunity and spending the time that we had to be able to really understand in that moment what was happening. Of course, my favorite book of all time, as I said last week, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, is a book that I think is absolute essential reading for everyone. It is basically the story of redemption and how even though we may make certain choices in life, there's always the opportunity to right the ship and get back on board. Also want to recognize on yesterday, my late sister's birthday, Gwendolyn Anderson. Many of you have never met Gwen because when she moved to Huntsville back in 1993, and lived with us for just 5 short years before she passed prematurely, she was really flying under the radar. So a lot of people don't know my older sister, Gwen. She was 11 years older than me. So growing up with her in the house was a lot like growing up with my auntie. And she really treated her younger siblings like we were the most precious people in the world. So I want to recognize her birthday taking place on yesterday, February the 22nd. And wow, I tell you, Gwen would have been 78 years old. That just kind of blows my mind when I think about that. You know, we're just getting older And hopefully we're doing it in the most proper way possible. My first guest this afternoon is new to the broadcast, and I'm just glad to have her in this particular space and moment to be able to celebrate her accomplishments and the many things that she's done. Let me introduce her, first of all, before we start talking with her. Michelle Torrance Livingston, also known as Shelley, is an inspiring author, mentor, and speaker dedicated to helping individuals heal from past pain and step into their purpose. One of my favorite words in the whole wide world. As the CEO and founder of Love, that's LOVE Unmasked LLC, she empowers people to uncover their true identity by embracing internal love and healing, self-awareness, and spiritual growth through Christ. She worked for Lockheed Martin for 26 years before she retired. She works on guiding young people into finding their purpose by giving them the potential for personal growth and career development. She serves as an HBCU instructor with a Queenspreneurs Plan LLC, mentoring next generation students on personal and professional career success. And in 2022, Michelle founded Her Healing Path. That's an acronym for Personal Awareness to Healing, a nonprofit dedicated to helping teenagers and women heal from trauma and build sustainable pathways to personal growth. So she's the real deal. And we've got her here this afternoon, and we're so glad to have her. Michelle, how are you doing this afternoon?
I am doing wonderful, Kenny. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you, and I kind of buried the headline a little bit because I wanted to say all those other great things to celebrate your accomplishments, but you're also here to talk about a book that you've written. You're also an author, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me ask you this question because I think this is something a lot of us do. We reflect on the younger self, the person we were many, many years ago. And then we look back over the journey and we kind of, in a very serious way, kind of think about the journey, what challenges we face, what obstacles we might have been confronted with, how we may have navigated through those things, or what lessons we might have learned from those things. As you've gone through your own personal journey, are there lessons in this moment that just sort of stand out in your mind that you just kind of take away from the journey itself and think about this present moment in time that you've been given?
If I were to do that, I would say the most important thing that I've learned in life and coming through life and the challenges that I experienced was I didn't love myself. And I went through life searching, looking for acceptance, validation, and someone to love me. And so all of my decisions, relationships I got into, decisions I made was based on, okay, I have to be lovable. And what I didn't find out until I went through life was the love that I was looking for was the love that only Christ that lives within me could give me and could fulfill me with. And so no matter who I was with, I was never whole because only Christ could give me that love. And that love qualified me to love others. His love flowed through me in order to love others. And so I went through most of my life not understanding that and looking for love, acceptance, validation. And only Christ, through him, I received my identity, my worth, my value, my validation. And so now I know and understand what love is. And I went through life with a false idea, a false belief of what love looked like.
Well, Bishop, I'm going to take this moment to pass the virtual offering plate before I offer the virtual benediction and also open up the call to Christian fellowship. My goodness, when you think about what you just said for a moment, this is something that I think about just from time to time because people will say things like, what was your younger self? Or what would you tell your younger self? They'll say things like, what are those key and critical lessons that you've learned in life? And then even sometimes people will say, would you want to do it all over again? And routinely I say, no, I wouldn't want to do it over again. What I hope to have done, and you really articulated this well, is to have evaluated the journey in such a way that I've been able to move forward and become more whole in terms of who I am as a person and more conscientious about the things that I'm doing. And I would imagine a lot of what you just said led you to the kind of work you're doing right now. Tell me about your motivation for moving into the space that you're in right now with the mentoring and career prep and academic prep and those kinds of things, working with mothers and single moms and teen moms and other moms.
Absolutely. The motivation came from, first, I went through life, always wanted to help others. And so I couldn't find a way how to truly give back. And so that's when I realized that I had to have my cup filled first before I can give back. And so I volunteer as a CAJA, court-appointed juvenile advocate, CAJA. And so I work with young ladies and young mothers, and they're in this perpetuating cycle, and they're looking and they're searching. And I recognize it because I went through it myself. So I recognize what that looks like when you're looking for love, when you're looking for acceptance. So it gave me the idea, hey, I need to start mentoring and talking to these young ladies, these teens, because they're learning from what they're seeing in their environment. So they're learning that, oh, my mother has, so many children. And so this is what it looks like. I need to go out and have multiple kids. This is what love looks like. Some of them are in situations where it's abusive. And so that's what a home looked like to these young ladies. So I mentor them to get a vision of what it looks like and what they look like through Christ's eyes, and what a home that is based on joy, happiness, patience, peace, goodness, gentleness, steadfast. What does that look like? And so I give them a foundation and mentor them so they can stop looking through external eyes. I know I said that. I won't even try and say it again, but you know what I meant. And start looking at their eyes through Christ and what home they would like to see, and mentoring them into becoming what they would like to receive. Do you want love to receive love? Then you start giving love. You want someone to respect you, then learn to respect yourself, and someone respectful will respect you back. Be the person you want to see, you want to attract in your life.
You mentioned a word that I get excited about a lot, and that's purpose. I always say that purpose is the most important journey that we will ever have in life, and that when we truly discover our purpose, we will find ourselves at a place, number one, that we have never been before, but that will provide us with the greatest opportunity to align with the will of God for our own life. What does purpose mean to you, and why do you think it's such an important thing in the lives of the people that you work with?
I think it's important because when you don't have, for me, I kept searching and searching. And when Christ unmasked the love that was inside of me, and I was able to see my purpose and how I could give back, then I was on a path. I woke up every morning with a plan. I had joy. Okay, I can do this. Whereas when I did not have a purpose, did not have a plan, then my purpose, my life, what I was doing was other people's purpose and plan. I was living for other people. It's more like, it's almost like my power was given over. And I was like a yes person. What shall I do for you today? Because I had no thought of what it was that I wanted to do and what it looked like. So I allow other people to direct my path. And I needed to lean on Christ and not man. And so once I was able to find my purpose, then I was able to surrender and let God work through me for his plans that he had for me.
Our purpose, as you have said, has to be aligned with the will of God. And I think that one of the reasons why so many people have difficulty, number one, even being aware that that's such an important journey, is because they have a separation from God. But then secondly, because our human nature is self-focused, it's self-centered, and it craves, it desires to please itself, to satisfy itself. So it's really a journey of self-satisfaction rather than being other-centered for the benefit of other people. And what happens essentially on that journey, I know it's happened for me, that the more I've given to others, the more I've actually gained. And it's like, when you sit around doing very little for others, whatever that might be. And a lot of people think about it in terms of resource. Like, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a facility to allow people to come into and things of that nature. I'm like, no, sometimes your gift of encouragement, your willingness to show up consistently in people's lives, your willingness to say to somebody, I'm available to listen to you, is the most powerful thing. In fact, it makes that person a superhero, because that's a superpower for that person to be able to move into that person's life in a way that can be transformational. And I know that the element of transformation is so important for you, because in your work, you're trying to move women from one place in life to a better place in life. And for that has to be a very gratifying place for you to be, to have discovered that for yourself. Am I right about that?
Yes, it is, because it's important to be seen, to be heard. And too often we believe we're not seen. No one's listening to us. And the thing is, we are listening the best way we can. But we have so much healing that we have to take place in our own selves that it may seem like we're not listening, but we're listening the best we can with what we have going on inside, that we still need to heal ourselves. And one thing that is key when I do talk to the young ladies is, I see you. I let them know I see you. I hear you. And I will, no matter what you see and how you see me, I speak their language so they know that I see and understand them, because I've been there. I went through, when I went to college, which ended up my motivation for writing a book. I went to college not knowing what I wanted to do. I originally knew what I wanted to do, but my counselor at the school I went to explained to me that I wanted to go into psychology, and it was explained to me that my race didn't go into psychology, women in my race. So when I went off to college, for some reason I listened. Don't ask me why, but I listened. And so when I went to Oakwood, I didn't know what I wanted to do, because I allowed someone to take that dream, that plan. And so I went to school for 2 years, just having fun, sports, playing, religion classes that's required. And I was just a lost soul. And so that motivated me. Now, when I wrote my book, Pearls of Wisdom, what I wished before I started college, is very important. The first chapter is, why are you even going? It's have a strong why, not a why that because my mother told me to go or because my dad told me to go, a strong why. You want to be there. So when things get a little challenging, you can review oh, I want to be in psychology so I can understand people better, so I can talk to them, I can speak, and I can help them in ways that I could not help if I did not have that education with my experience. And so I had no idea what I was going to do. And so I had nothing to encourage me to fall back on when things got challenging, because I never had a strong why of going other than it's the next block to check off. Mm. And so that was the motivation of the book, giving back, things that I didn't think about or just needed to be aware of in college. Because when you think about it, when we go off into college, the first 17 years of our lives, we've been told what to do. And so we have not exercised that critical thinking yet. And here we are making our own decisions. So we need to be mindful and aware of things. And we're coming in, we don't know what we don't know. Mm.
Well, it sounds like I'm looking over my shoulder because I'm like, boy, it sounds like Michelle read my book. Because I was that undisciplined freshman in college. And of course, I had the Oakwood experience too. I was excited about being 1,000 miles away from home. I was excited about being around so many new people I had never met before, but they seemed like they had a lot of energy and enthusiasm. I was at an HBCU. I mean, I was home, but that class thing and get good grades thing, I mean, that was kind of secondary to me. And of course, I could say that now. I would never have said it back then. It was just too hurtful and embarrassing. But as part of that journey, as you grow and mature, you recognize the mistakes you made in life, and you recognize the opportunity that you have to help someone. And that's what you've done in this book, Pearls of Wisdom, What I Wish I Knew Before Starting College. And we got just a few minutes left here. I just want you to maybe close this out by giving me 3 brief things. You kind of laid the foundation for that. But for those that are listening right now, maybe they're thinking about going to school. They're finishing that 17-year journey, and now they're going to be on their own. Maybe there are people who are going back to school even, because that's a big part of the process, or they may be in school right now. Give me 3 key things that you would leave with the listeners with regards to what you wish you knew before starting college that you think can help them.
Okay, so we kind of touched bases on the first thing, having a strong why you're there. The second thing for me, your circle of friends. Whether you believe it or not, they have a strong influence on decisions. So we pick up and we learn from those that we're in an environment with. So when you don't have a strong who you are, then you can be easily led. There may be someone there in the crowd in your circle that may be someone that can procrastinate and then at the last minute go and study and do exceptionally well, but that may not be you. So you need to be mindful of what works for you in order for you to be successful, and not what your circle of friends may have conformed to doing, which may work for them, but not work for you. And then it's also important to know who you are and understand who you are, because too often we run and get into relationships, and some people actually find their purpose partner while they're in college, but they still have a whole lot of healing that they don't know that they need to heal from. And so they don't always have a true understanding of who they are, why they behave the way they do, why they act the way they do, their personality type, and different things like that. So get a full understanding and awareness of who you are before you start rushing into another relationship and you don't even know who you are, and you trying to join union with somebody else. Is very important.
Yeah, keep that option open, folks. I tell people that all the time. Understanding yourself is probably one of the most important things that you can commit to doing before you take on another situation, relationship, anything that you got going on. But I also like to say, Michelle, that, finding that purpose partner, that life partner, that person that's going to, move with you through life in a very positive and passionate way is so much more about becoming the right person rather than finding the right person. So when I'm working on me and my personal growth, you said something a moment ago that made me think the human brain is not even fully developed when a person is 18, 19, 20 years old.
Hello.
It's still in the process of developing and becoming what it's going to be from a biological and physiological perspective.
Absolutely.
And so when we're caught up in some of the things we're caught up in, and not to take away from the brilliance and the genius out there, because there's some pretty bright young people out there, but set your priorities in order. That's basically what Michelle is saying, and that's what I'm hearing.
Thank you.
Michelle, if somebody wants to get a hold of this, I'm calling it a masterpiece, of course, because you wrote it. It's got to be a masterpiece, right? The masterpiece is called Pearls of Wisdom, What I Wish I Knew Before Starting College. And I would also suggest that this book is for parents who have kids that may be going to college so that they can have a context. It's for those non-traditional students, as I mentioned earlier, who may be going back to school. So I imagine, written this book for a very broad audience. How can people find the book?
Yes, it's available on Amazon, and it's also available on my website, loveunmasked.org, and that's LOVEUNMASKED.org.
Give us that website one more time.
loveunmasked.org.
And I would imagine if people want to get connected and get more information about your nonprofit, I'm sure you do speaking engagements and other kinds of community engagement activities. Would they go through the website to do that as well?
Yes, they'll go through the website, and there's a form to fill out for them to get in touch with me and what their interest is.
All right. Well, give them that website one more time then, because that's important information for them to have.
Absolutely. It's loveunmasked.org. That's LOVEUNMASKED.org.
She's Michelle Torrance Livingston. She's author, mentor, inspirationalist, and so much more. And we've been honored to have her on the Second Chance broadcast this afternoon. Michelle, best wishes in everything that you do. As you have other activities and engagements going on in the community, we'd love to partner with you to get the word out so that people can know what's happening on the ground. This show is all about positivity. We reject all that negative stuff. And even when we talk about it, we always are about giving a solution. And it sounds like you got plenty of them. So definitely keep in touch with us and let us know how things are going.
Thank you, Kenny, and thank you for having me on your show.
Give us that website one more time.
loveunmasked.org.
Folks, you got to get the book now. I'm telling you, it's Pearls of Wisdom, What I Wish I Knew Before Starting College. What Michelle is basically saying is you don't have to make the same unforced errors that we made. We're at this phase of life, and we have a lot behind us that we can reflect on. She's done it, and she's put it in a book. And it's a guidebook for you to be able to use in your own journey. So we hope you'll take advantage of that. Thank you very much, Michelle. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Great way to start our broadcast this afternoon, folks. And we're going to keep the love rolling in just a few moments. I just want to let people know that you're listening to Second Chance. I'm Kenny Anderson, host and producer of this broadcast that airs from Oakwood University, Prose 90.1 FM every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. And I'm going to just do a short transitional note, and then we'll be back with our next guest. We'll be back in just a moment.
Save a place for me. Save a space for me. In your heart.
Every year, the United Negro College Fund helps thousands of students go to college. But for everyone we help, there's one we can't. Not without the funds.
Save a place for me.
Please support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Call 1-800-332-UNCF.
A message from the Ad Council.
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Thank you very much and welcome back to the broadcast. We hope that you're having a good afternoon. Started off the day talking with author and mentor and nonprofit organization owner and so much more about the great work that she's doing. She's Michelle Troy's Livingston, and we had a great start to the broadcast this afternoon. I want to welcome at this time Dr. Jan Toney, who's joining me. Jan is a resident of Huntsville, having been born here and, of course, raised here. She earned a BS and master's degree in elementary education from the great Alabama A&M University. Go Bulldogs. Dr. Toney's taught in the Limestone and Madison County school systems and achieved administrative endorsement from the University of Alabama. She earned her doctorate degree in organizational leadership, human resources from Nova Southeastern University. She's always helped students reach their full potential. She's family-oriented and so much more. And she, too, is an author. And I actually get to hold the book in my hands this afternoon. There it is. It's called Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament. Now, this is not Dr. Toney's first time being on the broadcast talking about this, but so much has happened since the last time we got a chance to talk. And I'm so happy to have her here this afternoon. Dr. Toney, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, tell us about this book for those that may not know about it. Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament. I thought this was just such a creative title for an interesting and relevant topic.
Thank you, Kenny. Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament is all about bullying. And, bullying is a big component of our lives, even though we didn't invite it in. But, there are those things that you don't have to have an invitation. And bullying is one of those things. And with the kids today, it has come so prevalent that kids cannot, they don't feel safe anymore. And parents as a whole don't feel safe anymore. I remember when we can go out and as long as we get back before the street lights comes on, we could hang out at the playground, at neighbors' homes, and just, the kids in the circle. And we didn't have any of those issues. If you had a misunderstanding, then you came together and you worked it out. Every once in a while there were, fist throwing, but that fist throwing now has gone to another level.
It really has.
Yes,
yeah.
They no longer use their fists. They use guns and knives, weapons, and they're looking to actually seriously hurt someone for life.
Yeah.
Over something small, minute that means nothing.
That's right.
And the characters in the story, which helps to bring things to reality for our students. And bullying does not discriminate. And it's not only happening in the schools, it has gone to another level where you're dealing with the corporate world, which it probably has always been there. It was just never identified as bullying. We have a tendency to use select words to hide things that we're doing. Yeah. And so that's on a corporate level.
Yeah.
Then students, when you go to college, you're going to meet a plethora of students from different backgrounds, and you have to deal with a lot of jealousy, envy, where you thought your academic level was ready for college might not have been. There's your next door neighbor that's flying through things. So you have to deal with all of this because they're going to taunt you to get what they need or the help that they need. So the story starts off, it's all about a marble tournament. And it starts off with the kids, normal kids, having a good time at the playground, and Eva I. Bucket Smith, which is the bully, and he wears a question mark on his shirt, which means I don't have a clue. Bullies are always looking for the who, what, when, where, and how. Always. And there are some people that are able to give them answers. It might not be the right way, but they always leave the house with their defense on their shoulders, ready to pounce on some kid to keep his strength and his big title, so that everybody be afraid of him. But in all, when you water down all of those layers of defense of being a bully, you find that that kid is just want to be loved, want to have friends, want to share things in their lives. So he wears the question mark. And then there's young Chucky Fry, who is actually a real person, happened to be Charles Draper Jr., better known as Chuck. He's with HPD. He just retired. And he wears a turnaround arrow on his shirt, which means turn your life around. Well, can a bully turn their lives around? Can they? Sure they can. If they're willing to reach out and let someone meet them halfway, that can change their whole perspective on life. And to be honest, most of them are tired of playing their role as a bully. Then you have Aaliyah and Kalani, who have the first encounter with altercation, with throwing words of being a bully to each other. And then there's Dill Pickle. Dill Pickle is an Hispanic student, a kid, and he got the nickname Dill Pickle because he loved dill pickles. And when he would come out to play with the rest of the kids, he'd walk out with one in his hand, he's eating, and he always kept that spare in his back pocket. So that's how he came up with the name. That's how the kids named him Dill Pickle. You know, when you live in the neighborhood, like the way we grew up, and you do something silly or crazy and you get a nickname, and for some reason that nickname sticks with you for the rest of your life. I don't care where you go, how old you get, that nickname always going to pop up somewhere, somehow. Yeah. So this is how he earned the nickname Dill Pickle. And the Daddy Yo-Yo is a mystical figure. They're the only ones that are able to see him, or the kids in the neighborhood, and his grandson that's telling the story here to the kids. And there are many stories that they're going to share about bullying and everything and other encounters, but everything still boils down to the bullying aspect of it. And Daddy, Big Daddy, who is Daddy Yo-Yo's grandson, he is Aaliyah's grandfather. So, and she loves for him to tell stories. And Kalani is a neighbor that they, adopt. You know how you live in a neighborhood and you all brothers and sisters, and their mom comes your mom and or your auntie or your grandmother. Well, this is the setting for this story, because that's what we grew up in.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you a couple, 2 or 3 questions here. We've got about 7 minutes left, so I want to make sure I get all this in.
Okay.
You chose to write this as almost a children's story. It seems to be directed at children primarily. It's colorful. It kind of looks like a comic book. It looks like something that would draw the people who can best deal with this information in the most effective way. Was that by design? Is that come from your background as an elementary educator? And what was that motivation for doing this? Because you could have wrote a book that just said bullying, why it's bad, or something like that, and just kind of talked about it. But you did this in an illustrative way, which I think is really great.
Thank you. From my teaching experience of 39 years and just dealing with children as a whole. And then meeting the need. This is something that the Lord gave me, this story. I didn't ask for it. He gave it to me, and I ran with it because of dealing with students. And it has actually helped students a lot. They come to me. Even now, I'm at Monrovia Elementary, and the kids come to me, or the teacher sends the kids to me because I'm the strict discipline. So I'm still there as a reading interventionist. But the bullying itself, and going through experiences and working with the kids, so it's like a mixture, a plethora of different times that I have had to deal with students with the issue of bullying. And so I just, the Lord gave me the words, and I put it in a book, and it was exactly what I've done in the past and still doing to this day.
To this day, right?
To this day, still.
Yeah. The last time you came on, I don't know if you remember this, but I was getting ready for the show and actually pulled up this bag of marbles. Do you remember giving this to me so many years ago?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes, I do, Kenny, and the marbles will be available with this book.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wanted to make sure people knew that because there's more to the story than just a book, and
Yes.
this real what I would call a real hands-on opportunity to deal with this in a way that really families can kind of come together and talk about this. As a mental health therapist, I'm always looking for creative ways to reach kids and families. And this would seem like one of those ways where kids can kind of sit around and talk about these issues, even if they didn't say, hey, I'm being bullied. This could be presented in a way that might even draw them into a conversation about what's going on. And I imagine that's a part of what you might have been thinking about in putting this together as well.
Yes, and also on the other side with the kid, that to help him look at things, I don't have to take a gun to school in my backpack to shoot someone.
Yep.
I don't have to be angry enough to take out a whole classroom of innocent bystanders. I don't have to worry about walking to a store to shoot someone just because I am angry at the world.
Yep.
Or someone walked by and just nicked me on the shoulder, and that just rubbed me the wrong way. So all of that interior bullying that I had or have came out.
Yeah.
So, but you don't have to do that because there's always another way to solve a problem without fighting. Sitting down, taking the time to just talk about it. Talk about the issues. Talk about how we can come together and fix things and start sparking off of each other. And you'll be surprised of the things that students will actually share with you, or in the corporate world, when they open up and forget that they are an adult in a corporate setting, and they will share things with you. And it's like, most of the time it goes back from their childhood and the way they're raised, and there's several different types of bullying, verbal bullying, social bullying, physical bullying. And I've added another one, mimicking bullying, because a lot of kids, you don't know their home environment. Once they leave school, you don't know what their child faces at home. And so to release some of that frustration, they come back to the school and they do the same thing to the kids there that they received that night or watched one of their siblings.
Wow.
And so I call it mimic bullying.
Yeah.
Because they're doing is like, I want to feel that self-satisfaction that they get when they beat up my mom or they stomp my brother. I want to get that same feeling to see how it feels.
Yeah. Well, it gets deep for sure. And you've actually, as producer of the show, you've given me another opportunity to have you back, because I want to talk a little bit about social media and bullying. I want to talk a little bit about, because that's a new dimension as well. I also want to talk about how the landscape of just the educational arena has changed in the, almost 4 decades that you've been in there. I know you've seen a lot from when you started till now. And I want to talk about those things, but let's let people know where they can find this awesome resource and that they can take advantage of the information that you have prepared for them.
Okay. The book is on Amazon.com. Also, you can go in Barnes & Nobles and Books A Million, and they will order the book for you, and you get it like less than 3 days. And the book has also won an award called the Purple Dragonfly Award.
Yes.
They won that award, so I'm very excited about that.
I see that. My copy right here says Purple Dragonfly Book Award. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Folks,
Thank
you got to go out there. You got to get this book, folks. It's Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament. Let that creative name draw you in, and then understand that it has a resource that can help a lot of people who listen this afternoon as relates to bullying. And a lot of us see bullying behavior in a lot of different arenas and a lot of different ways. So, and even though this is written for younger children, I would imagine some older people can probably benefit from some of this stuff as well.
Yes.
Dr. Toney, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I promise I'm going to get you back, talk about some of those elements of bullying as you've seen them over the years, how the landscape has changed, a little bit about social media and bullying. And we're just going to draw from your well of expertise and learn as much as we can and keep letting people know about Daddy Yo-Yo and that amazing, legendary marble tournament. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. And Kenny, before we go, also this is a series. So book 2 will be coming out soon. So they can look for that.
Well, that means you'll be coming back at least twice.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jan.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, take care.
Folks, the beat goes on, but I hope that before I bring my next guest on, take a look at that. Daddy Yo-Yo and the legendary marble tournament. Write that down. Take full advantage of it. I want you to definitely get a hold of that and make some use of that. You know, there's an amazing organization in town. I think a lot of you might know this organization. You probably have seen some of the work that they've done. And we're just so honored to highlight them this afternoon. The National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated Greater Huntsville chapter. Whew, I got to get some oxygen after saying all of that. Is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is nonpartisan. I love that part of it. The GHAC was established in 2005, and this year they celebrate their 20th gala, described as a celebration of their unapologetic advocacy for Black women and girls. I have a trio of individuals with me this afternoon to talk about this event. First of all, I have the current president of the organization, Robin Drake. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. I see Dr. Laurie McCaulley, the immediate past president. How you doing, Laurie?
I'm doing fine.
Good to see you this afternoon. And Tara Tanner, I believe you are the scholarship chairperson.
Yes, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Listen, ladies, this has got to be exciting. I mean, anytime we get to galas, I get excited, first of all, because I get to dress up and go someplace where they're probably going to have good food. I'm going to see friends and family and have some fun. But to say that this is the 20th year is a really huge thing. And I know you all invested a lot in the space of organizing this and planning this. But I also want to start just with a reflection on this organization and why it is relevant in our community, how it got started, and why is it relevant today, perhaps even more so than ever before? Madam President, do you want to take that, or does the immediate past president want to take that? I don't know who to give it to.
So I'll start out, and I most definitely will let her close out.
She's a closer now, so
closer. So I'm gonna let her close it. So we were fortunate to start our organization in 2005 under the leadership of Mary Turner. And our organization is important because we promote and advocate gender equity in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. It's absolutely important this day and age, as you were saying, because so much is going on in our nation. And so we need to make sure we are still promoting and advocating for gender equity. So we got started in 2005 with the Greater Huntsville Area Chapter, and this is our 20th year. So we're excited. Our fundraiser, which is our annual gala, we look forward to raising funds for our scholarships this year. And we normally give out $10,000 worth of scholarships to high school students and our single pearls. So we look forward to dressing up, having a good time, and raising money. And I will kick it over to Dr. McCaulley now.
A little bit about our organization. We are unapologetically too forward about Black women and girls, but everyone is welcome to our events. We have a diverse group of people who attend our public events, and they're public, and you don't have to pay to come to see us. And whatever we are presenting to the public, we don't want to charge the community that we were established to serve. So that is why what we do. We want everyone to know that when we have something, because I'm a girl program, it's open to all races, ethnicities, and because I'm a girl, it's our signature program. They knew I was going to talk about that. But our motto is, she's looking like a girl. She's looking like a lady, though she's still a little girl. Come join our conversations at Because I Am a Girl. And this year's conversation is on career development and career exploration, and it's called Climb. So that is what we're going to be doing, and that is February the 22nd, correct, ladies? Yes, at the Holiday Inn. Yes. So you can look on our Facebook page, and there's a registration form.
Yeah, I think that's awesome to mention at the top of the show that this month's Black History Month's theme is African Americans and labor, and the whole notion of how it is so valuable to consider, number one, the contributions that Blacks have made to the workforce then and now. That is so important to think about how we are training young people for careers and that we're providing them with the kinds of resources and support that they need. And so these are definitely relevant things that we know can make a difference. And part of this then becomes, as a celebration of these things that we're doing along the way, an opportunity to have a gala that you invite the community to support and be a part of, and you're able to raise money to once again invest in the process. As the scholarship gala chair, Tara, is it Tara or Tara?
Tara.
Tara.
Yes.
Talk to me about what it's been like in terms of your role of working to bring this thing to be. This 20th anniversary.
So it's been a process, I must say, Kenny. However, it's been going very well. We offer 5 scholarships, 4 of which are for graduating senior girls, and our single pearl is for a single parent, a mother, with a child. Have coordinated with schools in Madison County, Madison City, and a private school as well in Huntsville. City schools. We have sent out flyers where it's easy to be able to apply. You can just click on that form and brings up the application, and the young ladies can apply. They are required to meet a certain grade point average, and there's a 250-word essay required for each category, and there's other documentation that has to be provided as well. So it's been going really good. The drop dead date is February the 28th.
Is the essay, and I'm always interested in that element because I think writing is a lost skill, and I think that's important for young people to really learn how to put their thoughts together in ways that can help demonstrate their understanding of what's going on. Does the essay have a specific topic area, or is it just kind of open in general?
Each of the 5 scholarships have a specific question that the applicant has the right to.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's good. I think that's a great way to even make a decision about who gets the scholarship as it relates to that, final process. President Drake, I wanted to ask you this. We're in a very interesting time where people are canceling history and talking against programs that seem to be that people are saying are discriminatory because they exclude other people. Immediate past President Dr. McCaulley recently said in this conversation that this is not an exclusive situation that just alienates people or keeps them away from it, but you do have a focus. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a focus. And I wonder what your thoughts are as you hear all this negative energy coming down at the progress that's been made and the efforts to have more regressive activities that sort of suppress these things. Are you feeling, as some people are, more inspired than ever before to keep pushing ahead? Or are you feeling the weight and the burden of all of this negativity that's going on?
So honestly, initially, I felt the weight and the burden. And then I had to refocus and remember that all our blessings flow from up above. And then I became motivated. The reality is we have to reshift our focus. We have to say, okay, if we have to educate people, we have to teach them that DEI is not a negative, it's not a dirty word. Inclusion is not a dirty word, right? You want everyone to be included because it takes all of us to succeed. So when Dr. McCaulley said everyone is invited, absolutely, because we believe in inclusion. We believe that, yes, we have a mission and who we advocate for. But for example, we were on maybe 2 years ago and we talked about our feminine hygiene drive, if I'm not mistaken. And we give feminine hygiene products to every young girl because it's an issue for every young girl, not just African Americans, not just Hispanics, not just whites. Every young lady, if they receive a menstrual cycle, has a need. So we include everyone and everything. And I think once we re-educate the community on what inclusion actually looks like, we'll stop treating it like it's a curse word, right? We just have to do better with educating I was looking at today, I believe there was a memo or letter that came out about scholarships. And if it's race-based, the Department of Education, the schools might not be able to offer it. So of course I put my thinking hat on. I'm like, well, we need to retweak some things and revamp some things, because we give $10,000 worth of scholarships, but we also have 70 members right now. So maybe we need to do a special category that's race-based, because we don't have it now. But those schools that are saying that we cannot now offer that, we still have a need in our community where African Americans or Latin Americans who are minorities are going to need additional help to get through college. So we just got to start rethinking and revamping and educating. Our goal is going to be focused on educating the community on why inclusion is important.
Yeah, I love that. I love the whole notion of pressing ahead in spite of all the winds that are blowing around us. It's absolutely essential that we do. We've got about 3 minutes. I want people to know, again, where is this taking place? The gala, the 20th anniversary. When does it take place, where they can get more information about it, and that we can make sure we've done our due diligence in terms of making sure people know how to get more information about the event.
Dr. McCaulley, I'm going to let you answer that as chair for the gala. She has been pressing forward. So do you mind educating the public on how they can get involved?
Well, I will enlighten the public.
That's good.
We are excited. Our gala theme is Emerald Excellence. Elegance. Emerald. So that's what the title. We have our entertainment is Element 11, the band, and everybody knows how wonderful they are.
Great pick, yeah.
Great pick. We have Lacey Jordan as our keynote speaker. She's from Huntsville, and now she's a multidisciplinary artist who has done work for Google, Netflix, Michael Jordan, HBO. She's well demanded. And then our MC is the great Miranda Bolden. So we have a lot of great things, and we have a wonderful menu that we have tasted. And it's going to be awesome if it turns out the way that we taste it. It's going to be the bomb. They really stepped up. Our tickets are available on our Facebook page and also on our website. Or either call one of the members that we have. Surely you know some of them. And they will be able to direct you, tweet you, send a text to you or something and how to link. We will be selling tickets until March the 1st. And then we'll be winding down because, you know, logistics of everything 2 weeks before event. March 15th, 6 o'clock at the VBC Saturn Ballroom. And for those of you who care, we do have a signature drink that night called Green with Envy. It is an apple martini. So I want to get you excited and enthusiastic about coming. The proceeds go to our scholarship fund and our mentoring program. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm going to put a plug in real quick for our Single Pearl Scholarship, because it's for a single mother who's dropped out of school for no matter what reason, and she wants to return back. And there's not a lot of scholarships for them. Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to, then we will improve the lives of multi-generations.
That's right.
By helping her.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's also a formal attire. So again, if people really want to kind of dress up and come out and have a night, come on out.
It's not a night for boots on the ground.
This is a night to have fun and party and celebrate and get ready to roll those sleeves up again and then start working in the community. Now, I'm going to say this one thing real quick as we get ready to close it out, but you will have the 21st gala. And when you do your tasting for the event, please invite me to be a part of that experience.
If I remember, Kenny, I know I'll keep it in mind.
I got some time on my hands. So, just let me know you're doing some tasting today. I'll come on down and see what's happening.
But you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you. I'm doing the best I can. Dr. Laurie McCaulley, Robin Drake, Tara Tanner. They are making it happen, folks, for the National Coalition of 100 Black Women right here in this community. They have a ripple effect that's actually reaching people in other areas in the region, around the nation. And we're so grateful for the work that they're doing. Big 20th anniversary gala. You got to be there, folks. It's happening on March the 15th at 6 o'clock at the Saturn Ballroom. A lot of y'all know it as the Old North Hall. Some of y'all will never call it the Saturn Ballroom. So, you mean just say the North Hall. Come at the Old North Hall in the Saturn Ballroom, and we hope you'll come out and be a part of it. Formal attire. You can get more information about it. We'll post some information in the chat as well so people can know exactly how to connect. Ladies, thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
All
having us.
right. Great conversation, folks, with the ladies of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. We thank them. That's the Greater Huntsville chapter, by the way. Let me make sure I put that little tag on the back end because they're making things happen all over this nation, folks. And we're so glad that we have our own chapter right here in this community. And we're honored to have the ladies today. I'm going to come back in just a minute and introduce my next guest. I am Kenny Anderson. I'm the host and producer of this long-running broadcast that started in 1990. And I will be back in just a second in order to tell you about what's happening next. I hope that you will stand by in the process.
Why do we say praise 90.1 FM? Because the blessing is in the praise. Filling your day with songs of praise on Praise 90.1 FM.
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you're enjoying all the great information that we have been sharing with you this afternoon. And we're just going to keep the ball rolling, and we're going to let you know about some more great things that are going on. If you have not heard about the Black Longevity Study that's taking place even as we speak, we're going to let you know all about it right now so that you can learn how you or someone you know can be a part of it. Joining me to have this great conversation this afternoon are two individuals, a principal investigator, who is Dr. Marie Claire Boutrin. She's an associate professor in biological sciences and a public health professional specializing in molecular biology, genetics, global health, and epidemiology. That's just to say she's a heavy person. I'm just glad to have on the broadcast this afternoon. Good to have you, Dr. Boutrin.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I want to put a smile on your face, too, even though you know I'm telling the truth, right? Dr. Joycelyn Peterson is with us as well. She's a registered dietitian, presently professor and director of nutritional sciences program at the great Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland, where I believe my good friend, Dr. Ray Winbush teaches or used to teach.
Used to teach.
Yeah, used to teach. Yeah. How are you doing this afternoon, Dr. Peterson?
Yeah, thank you. So it's exciting to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Listen, I got to tell you, ladies, when I heard about this study, I got excited for a lot of reasons. Number one, I'm in the 6th decade of my life. And so these kinds of opportunities are being extended to individuals who are aging and who have the ability to provide us with valuable information about health, especially in light of the challenges that we face in the arena of healthcare, from health disparities and so much more. So I know you all are going to give us some great information this afternoon about this study. I'm going to let Dr. Boutrin start, since you are the principal investigator. Tell me a little bit about what this study is and why we should be so interested in knowing more about it.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. So the study started by simple observation. We realized that the public health data for the nation revealed a great disparity when it came to the life expectancy between the Black ethnic group and its, but the white peers. Now, we live in Alabama, which is, which is in the South, and actually Alabama is even worse when it comes to longevity. It's the 4th worst state in the nation. And we were thinking, okay, this doesn't sound good. So we know that the Black community dies earlier, about 5 to 10 years earlier than the white group. And Alabama in the South is actually the 4th worst state when it comes to longevity. So that was basically the foundation. And then what was puzzling to us is that we realized that actually there is a cluster of residents in Huntsville that exceeds the longevity, well, or the lack of, the lifespan, the expectancy, and actually they live to be 85 years old and older, which actually is against the public health data, for the nation and the state. So we thought, okay, something is happening in Huntsville, and we would like to know actually what is going on and what is the secret of those seniors that actually live 85 years old and older. And actually, that age group is called the longevity group.
Go ahead.
Yes. So this is how we came together. Our team includes, we have MDs, we have nurse practitioner, we have Dr. Peterson, that is a dietitian. We have public health professional. We have educators. So we have quite a comprehensive, diverse team when it comes to expertises. And actually, we all focus on understanding what is it that this group of seniors do that contribute to longevity. So we call that, the study on the contributors, the factors contributing to longevity. And that's why we go around Huntsville interviewing that particular group of people to understand, okay, what is it that you're doing that actually makes a difference when it comes to longevity?
What stage of the study are you at right now?
We are about, I think, the last quarter of the study.
Okay.
Yes, because we're supposed to finish in April.
I gotcha. So what has the response been like so far from people who you have either engaged or invited to participate? Because that's one of our big purposes about talking about this today. We know people out there who are going to be listening who meet the age qualification. We need you to sign up for this particular study. So talk to me a little bit about what the response has been up to now and the engagement with others.
Well, the response has been just fabulous. I just jumped in there quickly because I've had a chance to interview a number of the participants. And the thing is that I've been finding out is that there are a number of people who are quietly residing in Huntsville and are living to be almost 100 years old, 90-something years old. And if they're all up in that age range, and of course they don't look it, so we don't realize that they're that old. So we just say, "Are you sure?" Yes, I qualify for the study, and so it's been exciting as we start talking with them and explaining, asking the questions, and they're able to answer. Their cognition is so good. It has brought on a lot of joy for me to just see this occurring in the past few months, where the individuals are very happy to participate in the study. Yeah, so I know Dr. Boutrin can share some more. There's some factors involved, and
I'm gonna get into that in a minute. But you made me think about the fact that I'm a member of First Seventh Adventist Church, but I'm very familiar with the Oakland Church, and occasionally there'll be some celebrations, and I've seen centenarians on the stage or in the audience. I've just been amazed at the number of them that have been there, and those, like you said, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and again, not looking like it. They didn't get driven into church in a wheelchair or anything like that. They're walking in. Many are vibrant. Many of them are living as robust a life as they can at the age that they're in, and there have to be things that contribute to that. I'm sure lifestyle is at the core of it. And I want to talk a little bit about what those elements of lifestyle are, because this is not only a call to invite people to participate, but hopefully this will serve as a little inspiration for those like myself who want to live to be at least 100 years old.
That is definitely true. And I think that, you hit the nail on the head. The purpose of this study is not just to gather data, it's actually to make a difference. We are painfully aware of the disparity between the longevity of the ethnic group and the Black population, and we are trying to actually reduce that gap. And at the end of the study, we hope, with the findings from the study, we hope to bring awareness, educate, also education. So we want to educate the clinical body of work. We want to educate professionals dealing with health, so public health. We want to be able to talk to people that change policies, healthcare entities, but also, the general population, the residents, the people that actually will give us the information. We want to pour back into the community and say, okay, this is what we found, and this is what can help you. Yes, so that's the main goal.
Yeah,
of the study.
Yeah, and Dr. Peterson, to the extent of the fact that you are a registered dietitian and running a nutritional center and all these other things, I know you probably have these conversations with people all the time. I know I do as a non-professional, because I've decided to make some lifestyle choices on my own as far as nutrition, and I certainly hope I'm benefiting from that. But talk to me for just a moment about where does a person start who really is at a point in their life, whatever point that might be, and they say, I hear you. I hear the fact that we are what we eat. I hear the fact that a plant-based diet is more healthy, but boy, I can't quite get away from this, that, or the other. How do you move people to a more productive lifestyle? What kinds of things do you do, and what have you found as best practices?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question. Thank you for bringing that out. And I have found in working with individuals that many of them are not too far away from a plant-based diet, because when you look at I have had it right in front of me here since I do counseling. When you look at the plate, it's a large plate, but when you look at the plate, it has fruits, vegetables, protein, and grains. And most of these things here are all from plants. So the main difference in trying to make a change into a plant-based diet is where they get their protein from. Mm-hmm. So, are they getting it from plants, or are you getting it from animals? So when I talk with them and start taking a diet recall, 24-hour diet recall or 3-day food recall, I found out that some of them are eating vegetables, they're eating fruits, they're eating grains, but the protein that they're taking in may be a larger amount of what the diet should be. So instead of maybe just only having 3 ounces of meat, they may be having a full steak, 16 ounces, and that can, envelop a lot of their calories. So what we do is say, okay, let's look at how much protein that you're taking in if you want to make a change to plant-based protein, and let's make some substitutions. So if they're eating vegetables, broccoli, and greens and so forth, most of us, in our population eat a lot of greens on the weekend, Sabbaths and so forth. And fruits, we may not always eat a lot of fruit, but they'll at least have a banana. When I ask, have you had any fruit? I've had a banana for that day. So we try to let them look at half of the plate, divide their plate in half, and have fruits and vegetables on one side. And then on the other side, have their grains and the protein. So the only difference is that the protein, where they're getting their protein from. So when I tell them, I said, how do you want your protein foods? Do you want to eat first-hand protein or second-hand protein? So then they say, well, what is that? So the first-hand protein is eating the food directly from the soil, from the land. Second-hand protein is that someone else is eating it, and then I eat that particular animal, which is, either a cow or steaks or chicken or so forth. So we try to encourage them to follow the plate, which is part of what the USDA has recommended for us to follow. And there's some dairy, they can get calories from the dairy here, but that's not as great amount as you get older as what you need to get on the plate. So I try to explain to them that trying to follow this particular diet, when you look at your weekly menus, is just take like a meat out Monday. So, okay, Monday, today's Monday, probably won't have any meat. So what will I substitute for that? Maybe beans, a half a cup of kidney beans or chickpeas or something like that. And then they have the meat out Fridays. So when you look at Friday, some people may not have meat, but they may have fish or something like that to support it. So we say, let's do, just a pizza. Pizza is not a bad food. You just don't want to eat it every day. That's the problem with the pizza. It can get addictive. So individuals are now really looking at using plants for their main source of protein instead of animal. And that's just a big difference. Other than that, if they eat the fruits and vegetables as required, half a cup of serving is really not, a lot of people think it's a lot of food, but a half a cup is a serving. And a slice of bread is a serving. So I think people are now getting more in tune to wanting to make that change.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I have an elephant in the room question for you. I'm going to come back to you in just a moment with that question. But I want to bounce back to Dr. Boutrin for just a minute. If somebody's listening this afternoon and they want to participate in this conversation, in this study, and they want to begin the process, of course, we're going to connect them to that information. But can you tell us what it looks like to be a participant in this study?
Okay, what it looks like is, basically you have to be 85 years old and older. 84 is too young. And, and you have to be, I'm sorry, you're too young. and also you have to have lived in Huntsville or Greater Huntsville for at least 3 years. By Greater Huntsville, I mean 25 miles outside of Huntsville.
Okay.
And you have to be non-Hispanic Black.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also need the ability to record information, because the questionnaire has questions like about diet, about physical activity, about spirituality, and we want the person to be able to just recall, okay, what do I do, things like that. But that's it. It's very simple. It's very straightforward.
Does someone call them or go to their house and meet them somewhere, or how does that work?
So, because, well, to be honest, some of the seniors we have interviewed, they are very vibrant. So they met us wherever, they wanted to. Some of us, we had to, do a home visit. So we drive to participants' houses and interview them.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to nursing homes, we go to senior centers, we go to residences. Like basically, where they feel comfortable, we will meet them at that location. And I must say, actually, when they complete the survey, because it is a survey, they get $25 cash on the spot.
Yeah, don't forget the money. Yes. They get paid.
I'm sorry, you're too young, Kenny.
You can't lower that age. You can't lower that age a little bit.
Not yet. Yes, Kenny.
I just have to keep doing the right things and just live up to the age, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're excited about that $25. I just don't know what it is, but they just, oh yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
That's kind of like the magic number. If it was 20, it'd be all right, but 25, that kind of takes it over the
just a little bit. Yes,
that's a little bit more. Yeah. No, I think that's amazing that you can offer, the financial incentive is great, but just offer people a chance to really reflect on their health journey at that stage in life, which is a tremendous blessing to arrive at 85. We know that premature death is one of the things that haunts people in the Black community, people of color, and that this is something that people like yourselves on the front line dealing with every day from a research perspective, a treatment perspective, and trying to engage people in making smart decisions about their lives. Dr. Peterson, we're talking this afternoon to two experts. They've been invited to talk about the Black longevity study that's taking place right here in Center City. I'm calling Huntsville today Center City and the 25-mile radius outside of that. Dr. Marie-Claire Boutrin and also Dr. Joycelyn Peterson are with me this afternoon, and they've been providing some really good context about why this experience is happening now, why it's so important, what the relevance of it is, and how you can participate. So that's the magic number today, folks. Just think 85 and 25. And if you're 85 and you like 25, then you definitely want to make sure you get connected to this study. And we're going to let you have an opportunity to learn more about how to do that in just a moment. Dr. Peterson, I said I had an elephant in the room question for you. I got to ask it right now.
Oh, wow.
So, and I know you can handle it. That's the only reason I'm asking it. But there's kind of an elephant in the room because I've kind of gone between being a vegetarian and a meat eater for many years. I've now walked away from meat eating as of 17 years ago now. And so, I feel great. I think for my age, I look great. And I think I made choices 17 years ago that have positioned me to be in the space I'm in right now in terms of my health. My health is really very good right now. But I looked at people for many years who were very happy to be vegetarians, but yet they had tons of health issues. And one of the major health issues, they were either overweight or they had diabetes or other kinds of things. To me, that's the elephant in the room, because on the one hand, we're preaching that, vegetarianism or plant-based lifestyle is better, but we're seeing people who are doing those kinds of things sometimes and they're not in very good health. Can you talk a little bit about the discordance in that kind of experience and why that exists?
Yeah. So there's a study called the Adventist Health Study that I was involved with when I was at Loma Linda doing my doctorate. And we have found that there are different kinds of vegetarians. So you have people who are, they're not eating meat, but they're taking in dairy and eggs. So they're called the lacto-ovo vegetarian. Then you have the lacto-vegetarian, maybe just only having milk. And then you have the ovo vegetarian that's only eating eggs. And then you have the plant-based, it was called plant-based. At that time, it's called vegan. Those are the ones who will not take any of the dairy products in and basically eating from the land, the plants itself. And we have found through research that individuals who are on that totally plant-based or vegan diet tend to not have some of these issues that you're talking about, still having, cancer showing up and so forth, even though it's multifactorial. We found that people who are more of a plant-based without the added dairy and eggs, ovo, tend to thrive better. And so that's what some of the changes are. And I think you're seeing in our young population now, they are going with the vegan plan. And I know it has there are a lot of more involvement when you talk about the real vegan is that, they may not use leather and so forth, and honey, but believe it or not, honey is still, it's vegan. And so people are more going to the total plant-based, eating from the land. And I want to say that the way that I have a cookbook that talks about that, but we go back to Genesis 1:29. If we're looking at the plan for God's plan for mankind as he made man, right after that in Genesis 1:29, it says fruits, nuts, grains, and vegetables. So there was no dairy involvement or any of that at that time. And I think as people are going back to that original plan, they're finding out that they're doing better and they're health-wise. Yeah.
Dr. Boutrin, I wanted to ask you, you got to be pretty excited about the fact that you're within the finish line for this particular study, because it will provide you with a snapshot of some things that could be helpful for people and beneficial for people. As you come out of this experience, you referenced earlier that you'll be able to provide some context for people. And I wonder, in addition to that, what specific goals do you have to take this information and use it in a way that can be impactful to people and their lifestyles?
Yes, we are aiming from our findings to actually not only educate, bring awareness, change maybe healthcare approaches and policies, but we also plan to continue this work. This study, as far as we know, is the first of this kind in Huntsville, Alabama. We know that there is an issue, but nobody has been actually tackling the issue. So that's what we are trying to do. So from the findings, we should be able to get a better understanding of what's going on in Huntsville. We know about other locations that have been studied, but this particular location, there's nothing about it. So from this study, we hope to actually know what's happening in Huntsville and Greater Huntsville, and maybe and then design maybe future more tailored studies, but also extend to other states that also find themselves to have a similar type of disparities that are hindering longevity in the Black population. And, sometimes people say, oh yeah, it's only for Blacks. Well, yes, because this is where the problem lies. If there was no problem, we would not be here doing this. But we do have something that is substantial and that is actually, that needs to be addressed. So these are our main goals. Design future studies, whether it's local and it's more like specialized or more focused based on the findings, but we also want to expand it to other states based on funding.
Yeah. Well, that certainly has a lot of promise, a lot of opportunity. I won't get too heavy into the political side of it, but when you mention the funding piece, of course, I wonder about, getting some funding from some of those traditional agencies. Maybe we'll have to be a little bit more creative. Maybe we'll still have a pipeline, but we may have to get a little more creative in making that happen. But the value of these kinds of studies, I tell you, is something that really you can't quantify it, because we're really talking about people investing in their lives in such a way that they can actually live the course of their lives as healthy as possible. And that should be everyone's goal. I mean, we don't have to be sick. So much of what happens is based on a choice that we made in life. And so much of that has to do with what we chose about that plate, or that second plate, or that third plate, or that second or third piece of cake, all of those kinds of things, You used to always hear, you are what you eat. And then you actually get old and it's like, you know what? They were right. I am what I eat. I look like it too. It's like, oh my gosh. But listen, I want you to, in the last few minutes that we have here, let people know how they can get more information if they're interested this afternoon in connecting to the study, or if they know somebody in the Huntsville and surrounding area, 25-mile radius, who wants to be involved in this study. How can they reach out and get more information about getting connected?
Well, they can call Yes, I was going to give them the 256 number. They can call 256-326-5243. 256-326-5243, and make an appointment. We will be happy to come out and interview them.
Do you want to share the email as well?
Yes, blackstudyproject@gmail.com, or one word, blackstudyproject@gmail.com.
All right. I love the fact that in the flyer that we're going to also post on our Second Chance Facebook page, our Instagram Facebook page, and our X Facebook page, X social media page for Second Chance. We'll share this because in red letters, most of this is in black letters, but in red letters it says, participants who complete the survey will receive compensation. I'm sorry, folks, I just keep going back to that space right there. But it's hard for me not to get excited about being compensated for something, because so much in life doesn't involve those kinds of things. But this is all for a great cause. I'm so happy that the Black longevity study that is targeting Blacks 85 years and older in this community, to help us understand more about how you've arrived at this space and how we can now apply this information in other ways and expand the learning. This is an amazing experience. Dr. Boutrin, as well as Dr. Peterson, thank you for being a part of this conversation today. And I hope you'll come back after it's done and maybe talk about some of the findings and give us a little bit more insight into what we may need to know as we move forward in this journey.
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
it was
having
exciting.
us.
Indeed, ladies. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you too.
All right. Wow, folks, what a great project. The Black Longevity Study, Contributors of Longevity in Blacks in Huntsville, Alabama. They want to hear from you. If you're a non-Hispanic Black man or woman, 85 years old and over, living in Huntsville and neighboring communities, 25-mile radius, researchers are at Oakwood University. They're investigating the factors that contribute to longevity in non-Hispanic Black residents of Huntsville. The project began in May of last year. It's closing out in April of this year, so it's been going for a while. And you can check them out at blackstudyproject@gmail.com. You can send email if you want to be involved, or you can call 256-326-5243. I mean, this is just amazing. My next guest is 86 years old. I'm just messing with you. Toney Perkins, what's going on, my brother? I think you're on mute. I'll tell you what, I'll introduce you, and then we'll get that piece figured out as we go along. Toney Perkins is a native of Berkeley, California, and grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, one of my favorite areas, actually, in the whole world. I love San Fran, during the tumultuous 1960s. My goodness, if you know anything about what was going on at that time, he was part of it. I mean, well, he was there, I should say. He wasn't part of it. He obtained his Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication with a minor in English from the great Oakwood College, today University. He's a published writer, poet, artist, videographer, media trainer, producer, director, and consultant, and has been involved in media production and broadcasting for over 30 years. He's one of the first brothers that I actually knew who did that kind of work so many years ago when I was doing the conference on the African-American family, and he and others were providing support for that process at that time. He is the author of This Black Skin, Poems and Prose, relating to the African-American experience. He's none other than Toney Perkins. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, man. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, sort of.
Okay, let me see if I can boost this mic for you.
I hear you, man. What's going on over there?
I don't, you would think the media guy would know what to do, right?
That's what I said. I went to all this media personality, videographer. Listen, he's the guy I would go to ask the question, how do I do such and such?
There's something about an unmute that just makes things work so much better.
You know, okay, let's see. Unmute. That lets people hear.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
What's happening, my brother?
Man, look, I'm just enjoying life. I'm working on, my cousin and I are racing to make books. And he's done one. I did my first one. He's done one, then another. And so I'm working on 2 and 3 right now.
Oh, man, that's great. Let me ask you about that. But first, I'm going to say one quick thing. Then I'm going to ask you about that because I'm actually writing my first. And I'm just always fascinated when people are authors, and I like being in their space and their energy. But if you're not watching the live stream right now, folks, you're missing one of the coldest beards and mustaches. I'm talking cold. You're missing it, folks. You need to jump over to the live stream right now. See, Toney's that guy who, when I was growing up and I couldn't grow a mustache and a beard, and I would see brothers and I'd be like, how do they do that? I mean, it's so smooth. I know it's genetics, but don't tell me about genetics. This is one of the coldest beards and mustache combinations that you'll see with the sideburns and all, and the color, brother.
Man, look, and you see the difference. It's seriously, it's genetic. And 2 people today said, a man walked up to me. I was at Cracker Barrel. He said, I said, "Oh, excuse me, sir." And he said, No. I just want to tell you, oh man, you have a beautiful beard. I was like, okay, thank you. I joined the Silver Fox group on Facebook.
Oh man,
you have to send in pictures,
man.
So I sent in my pictures, and they were like, "Yeah, you're
well, you should be an officer. If there is any leadership structure, you should be an officer."
God is good, boy. It
looks good, brother. It looks good. But let me ask you this, okay? A process, like when people ask me about how's the book coming, I say, well, I write a little bit every day. Some days more than other days, and I'm kind of just trying to get it all down on paper. What's your process?
Well, it's really interesting. I liken it unto what Judges says in the book of Judges when it talks about Samson. It says the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. And that's what happens with me, is that something will click in my head. It used to be, before we had cell phones and you could talk into your phone, my wife used to carry pieces of paper, envelopes, because a thought would come and it was just overwhelming. And I would say, hey, write this down. And it would just go through. And then once that seed was planted, depending on what it is, it became an obsession. I could not do it. It overwhelmed me. And so it is, every time I have an opportunity, literally I put it down. Seriously, if it's just a snippet, And that's what I tell people. Even if it's just a snippet, write it down, put it in your phone, record it, put it in your phone, do whatever, because you never know where that snippet will go.
Yeah.
And, one of the pieces in the book started off as a snippet, and it just, I could not write it. It's honestly, it's almost like doing drugs.
Wow.
It's like doing drugs.
Wow.
So what you're doing, my cousin, what he does is every morning he spends 1 hour just writing. 1 hour just writing in a quiet time. And I tell people, wherever you can get in, fit in, write it, put it down.
Yeah. So important. And I'm always, like I said, fascinated about people's processes. People have different ways. I've seen people who sort of said, okay, I'm going to take this next month, I'm going to write, or I'm going to do it on weekends, or, people have had all kinds of ways, but the process that you embrace should be your process, like you just said.
It has to be. I do it. It'll come. I mean, I'll be up. I'll get a line. I used to think I was a poet, and then my cousin said, he said, "Man, you have a way of extending your poems," and I realized they're not poetry. I'm a storyteller. That's why I have griot on there. I'm a storyteller who writes in rhyme, and there's a difference. And so, but I'll be up sometimes. Something will hit me, and if I'm up 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I just have to put it down. And that's what I tell people. Put it down. When it hits you, put it down. No matter what, put it down. Because you never know when you won't have it.
What was the motivation for the first book, This Black Skin? You, like me, people all around you writing, we love to read and that type of thing. And at some point, something says to you, okay, I'm going to turn this energy and this passion in a specific direction that's going to result in a publication of my own. What was that motivation for you?
Well, initially, 1989, I was in worship, and the Holy Spirit said, there's going to be 4 gifts I'm going to give you. Writing, public speaking, art, and then being able to articulate scripture in a way that's meaningful to people on their everyday level. And so I had just started writing, just bit by bit, pieces start coming together. And my mother was always my advocate. Come on now, you got to publish. Well, in 2022, my mother was at a point where I had to make a decision of whether life and death for her. And I said, Lord, do not let my mother close her eyes without me publishing.
Wow.
And she's always, year after year, honey, you can do it. You need to publish. And so when she got to that point, and then we make the decision, the Lord brought her back, which was a whole nother story. I was determined this year, this is it. And I went on a tear. I would not stop writing. And I accumulated, the oldest piece in the book was written in 1989. And when I was working at the Huntsville Hospital. And so, and it's the taking of the Panther. And so I just put it all together and said, this is what I'm going to, I'm doing this. And I gave it to her for a Christmas present, 2022.
Wow.
December. And I sent one to my dad.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, Lord, I've done it. I've actually completed what she's wanted me to do all these years and what you've told me to do all these years. So you just got to put your head to it and do it. Just do it.
Every author who writes is speaking with their authentic voice, typically to a targeted audience. One of the things that people have told me often is, if you're out there and you have a book, you want to sell books, that's fine. And of course you want mass circulation, so as many people buy it as possible, but that still doesn't eliminate the targeted approach and voice that the author typically has in terms of who I want to hear this book. Did you have that particular audience in mind?
I really wrote it honestly for me. I had to get it. Ramona Hyman, which was my creative writing professor, Ramona said to me, to our class, when you write, it's like having children. And you have to get those, but once you have them, they don't belong to you. They belong to the world. And I had to get it out. It would die in here if I didn't get it out. And so that was the motivating factor of getting it out, and to whom, to anyone who's interested in our story. That's my target markets and target audience. So if you're a 5-year-old and you want to know about us, then it's for you. Some of it may be a little strong for a 5-year-old, but if you're 105 years old and you want to know, it's for you, because it's our story. This book talks about us as a people, African Americans, and our lived experience, our singular experience, our lived experience, and how that comes together, because we each have that singular experience, but when you look at it, it becomes a whole. And it's the story of our experiences. So it runs the gambit. And a lot of it talks about the injustice, because that's my thing, is injustice. How do we right the wrong? How do we make the scales balanced? And if you look at the book, it says, okay, the scale was tilted. We need to move that back this way. So anyone who's interested in any part of our story, the book is for them.
We have seen in this particular climate, this political climate and more, that there is an attempt to negate our story, to erase our story, to suppress our story, to distort our story, to change our story.
That's right.
And I would imagine at some level, your work is a work that you want even more in this time to be elevated to a place of people listening to it and
banned,
understanding it.
Yeah, it's probably banned in Florida. My goal is that they do it secretly underground. You know, hey man, here's a book. Here, take this. Don't tell anybody. But go ahead. Yeah, but you're right.
No, and so in that context, I just wondered, do you think about that in this particular time? Because I love the fact that there's clarity in terms of what this structure is, what this creation is, and what this gift is, and who should benefit from this gift. And yet you have all of these forces swirling around you saying, no, we don't want to talk about that. No, we don't want to listen to that. No, that's not true. And that kind of stuff. It's got to make you, as the author of this, think, boy, not only does this validate what I've done, but it also suggests an even greater need to make sure that people see this in this time.
My ultimate goal would be that it would be used in, for example, Black history classes. That it would be supplemental reading, because I detail the history. The longest piece is called Just a Bunch of N-Words. And it's of course you know what N-word is. But I don't just deal with African American N-words. I deal with Native American. I deal with Hispanic. I deal with Haitians versus Cubans. And so the goal is, this is the story. Now you can pretend all you want, but when you go through it, you'll be able to say, well, who is this person that he's talking about that was lynched or that was done whatever, and it's steeped in history. So you can do all you want to pretend that the history didn't, but this is a history book. I say this is a history book, and the reason I use the cover, and this is the book, by the way, because it speaks to America, the flag. But it's dulled. It's not bright and vibrant. It's dulled because it's us. And the person on the screen, on the cover, it's the famous picture of the gentleman who was whipped. And it says we were whipped. This is a reality. And yet he sits almost with a defiance. Like you will not erase me. You will not minimize me. You will not pretend I don't exist. I'm here. These are my scars. This is what you've done to me, but I'm still here. And that's the goal and the point of the book, is to say, historically, we've gone through what we've gone through, but we're still here. We will continue to be here. And we're more than willing to be here with you. But look at what has happened to us. My ultimate goal is that a person that is not of color could synthesize the experience and say, you know what? Maybe the next person I deal with, I'm not going to treat that way. I worked at Huntsville Hospital with a gentleman who was in a wheelchair. He had been a sheriff in Decatur, was shot by an African-American man, so he hated us. He was Polish. And I worked with him. He was my patient. And I worked with him and I would kindly, and I said to him, Toney, have you ever met, I said, you don't like black people, do you? He says, no. I said, do you dislike me? And he was like, no. And I said, have I ever treated you bad? He was like, no. Have I been good to you? He said, yes. I said, then the next person you run across, pretend that look like me, pretend it's me. That's what I'm hoping when you read the book, that you say, oh, wow, I didn't realize that you hurt like that. I didn't realize that the system treated you that way. I didn't realize that we projected you in that tone and in that manner. And so maybe I need to back off and look at you as a person. And that's ultimately that's what I'm hoping, because it's really about reconciliation. We want to reconcile. We're not going to do to them what they did to us. But so you don't have to continue to be afraid of us and treat us like you do, because we want to live in harmony with you. And that's what the book is about, is showing you what we've been through, so that you can be sensitive to us, empathetic with us and with our experience, because at some point you've had a shared experience in some way, and then we'll see how we can come together.
So full transparency, Toney, of course, hosted a show here on this station for many years called Sunset to Sunset. And I would look forward to hearing his soothing voice come across the airways with a spiritual nugget. And I mean, he used to just drop them right and left. It's like we couldn't get enough of it when it was happening. And since he's turned the reins over now from Sunset to Sunset, and we don't get to hear his melodic voice too often, since he's got a copy of the book there, because he is the author, I wonder if there's something that you can just read to us, a short something that you can read for us in this moment, because I love to hear that Sunset to Sunset voice one more time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to read What If. What if God was black? That being a direct descendant of Adam, Jesus Christ inherited Adam's color. But then, wouldn't that make him a person of color? Wasn't it Christ who created Adam from the dark brown dust of the ground, the dark dust that was nourished by the Nile and kissed by the sun, S-U-N, S-O-N? The dark dust that was formed and fashioned into a human being with a direct likeness and resemblance of its creator? What if God was black? What if the creator Christ was black? Being both the creator and descendant of dust-skinned Adam, would a colored Christ be considered the creative chicken or the colored egg? What if God was black? That after all these years of worshiping and serving him because you thought he was a white European-looking Jew with straight blonde hair or curly black hair, you found out that Christ was a person of color. And I don't mean tan or peach, but real color, dark color, distinct color. Would you still worship him? Would you still venerate him? Would you still love and serve him? Would you still hold him up to your friends, family, children as the example, as the model, as the leader they should emulate and follow? What if God was black? Would you be as reticent to associate yourself with him and his celestial family? Would you be ready and willing to treat his terrestrial offspring with dignity and respect? Would you apologize for all the years you treated them as something subhuman, as inferior, as criminals, as rapists and thieves and murderers, and a cancerous virus that needed exterminating? Would you be willing to stop segregating them, redlining them, dismissing them, disrespecting them, telling off-color jokes about them, prejudging them, ignoring them, hiring them last and firing them first, separating them from their families, building walls to keep them out and prisons to keep them in, building factories, liquor stores, and waste dumps in their neighborhoods, forcing them to live in inferior, subpar, substandard housing developments, flood zones, and food deserts, forcing their children and families to work in your fields for the cost of your mochachinos, lying on them, lying to them, following them, accosting them, harassing them, persecuting them, lynching them, calling the police on them, incarcerating them, killing them, hating them. What if God was black? Would you let him go out with your daughter? Develop a relationship with your granddaughter? Spend time with your niece? Love on your sister? Could he be pals with your son, best friends with your nephew, godfather to your newborn? Would you let him join your country clubs, bridge parties, social soirees, gentlemen's clubs, neighborhood watches? Would you allow him to be a member of your civic, religious, fraternal, and business organizations? Would you allow him to sit on your boards, on your porch, on your couch, at your table, in your presence? When he got into your elevator, would you step back, step away, step out, clutch your purse, check your wallet, refuse to speak or give him eye contact? Would it turn your head, your thoughts, your impressions, your stomach, your world upside down, inside out, or on its ear? Would you be more inclined or less inclined to treat black people, brown people, and red people as your equal or even your superior? Would you be more or less sensitive to the needs, wants, wishes, desires, aspirations, feelings, justice for, and thoughts of black people and people of color? What if God was black? Would you become an atheist?
Wow.
What if?
That's just a little taste, folks. Toney Perkins, the book is This Black Skin, Poems and Prose Relating to the African American Experience. I'm just going to call it a publication for our times because it certainly sounds like something that those who are aware, conscientious, and responsible will want to definitely take a look at. And so if people want to get a hold of this publication, Toney, how would they go about doing that?
Well, it's on Amazon, and you can look This Black Skin up on Amazon. There's a hard copy and a paperback that are in color. I'm going to start producing some black and white paperbacks. Or you can contact me on Go to Toney's Place, G-O, the number 2, Perks Place, P-E-R-K-S, P-L-A-C-E, at gmail.com. Go to Perks Place at gmail.com. And I'll be more than happy to send out you place an order and I'll send a book to you.
Have you done a podcast before?
I am actually working on one, Kenny, as we speak. It's called I See It with Toney. And it's I-C-I-T.
Oh.
And it's an interesting play. It's In Christ I Trust.
Definitely when that gets up and running, let's have you come back on and talk a little bit about that. That would be fascinating and a great way to follow up this awesome conversation that I've had today with my bro, Toney Perkins. He's the author of This Black Skin, Poems and Prose Relating to the African American Experience. And he's got more in the way.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys just hang around because it's coming and you definitely want to get a part of it. My brother, always good to talk to you. Always good to see you. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
For sure. Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate being here.
Yes, sir. What a great way to end our conversation. That's a great way to end officially Black History Month. Of course, it's going to be March the 1st soon, folks. And we don't want you to forget that Black history is American history. So celebrate it 365 days a year. I'm going to come right back and tell you what's happening on next week on the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance. And I hope that you're having an amazing afternoon. All right. I hope that if you're interested in an opportunity to be on the broadcast, that you will give me a call at 256-679-4241. You can also reach me at KennyAnderson75@outlook.com. KennyAnderson75@outlook.com. Check me out on the web as well at KennyAnderson.org. And you can see all the information related to the different seminars and workshops that I do, as well as some clips of this broadcast and so much more. We hope that you'll take full advantage of that. On next Sunday, it's my What's Going On Social and Political Roundtable. I want to make sure that you know that on next week, I'll be talking with my good friend David Perkins, the co-founder of this show, as well as Dr. Keith Burton, and perhaps one other person. We'll see how that goes on next week. And we hope that you'll join us at that time. I want to also acknowledge just a couple of things. My good friend Patrick Lewis buried his dad on yesterday. The memorial service was in East Orange, New Jersey. The funeral of Reverend Paul Lewis Sr., who passed on February the 11th. I want to continue to send our thoughts and prayers out to that family. And I also want to congratulate on yesterday, my good friend Reverend Derek Green was recognized at a stunning event. And the Interfaith Action Movement, in honor of Reverend Green's legacy of advancing equity, opportunity, and sustainable change locally, nationally, and globally, past, present, and future, convened at the historic Calvary Baptist Church in Peterson, New Jersey. I was supposed to be there, folks, but of course, the Inspirational Choir had its big farewell concert last night. So once again, shout out to Murphy Wilson and the crew over there for a wonderful event on last night. But I could not be there. My brother, Derek Green, who oftentimes comes on the broadcast for the What's Going On segment. Congratulations to you, bro. We love you. We respect you. And we hope that you will continue to be the pathfinder, trailblazer, and pioneer that you were first many years ago, and even before you came to Oakland, but certainly as the co-founder of Willing Succeeding in Black, you have paved the way for 30 years or more now. And brother, there's the best that's yet to come, because we know you have so much more work to do. Congratulations on this accomplishment and recognition on last night. We'll see you again on next Sunday, folks, for another edition of the broadcast. In the meantime, have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Good day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you. So please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.